Hello, beautiful people. Hope everybody's had a great week. I want to say thank you for listening and watching. You guys are really awesome. I appreciate the feedback and I appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. So thanks for that. And let's get out of business. I want to talk a little bit this week about something I brought up last week a couple times, but I kind of want to cover it a little deeper. And what I said several times was getting put out of business and how people are trying to put you out of business. And like I said, I look at the world a lot through the lens of a small business, and it's just because the life I live and the things I do every day. But to me, what getting put out of business to me would be like a dream being killed for me, because it's been my dream to be a small business owner, to be self-employed. So being put out of business is like a dream killer for me. So a dream killer for you may be completely different than a dream killer for me. So it may not necessarily be small business. It may be you want to start a family. It may be you want to get a particular education. It may be you want to play an instrument. Maybe you want to learn a language. There's all sorts of things that apply to you that may not apply to me. So I just apply, like I said, I look at the world through the lens of a small business because that's my dream. So when I say get put out of business, that could mean something completely different to you. So when I say dream killer, I'm going to use dream killer instead of getting put out of business to help sort of tie it all together to where maybe it makes more sense for you, or could be more relative to your life. Um, but getting put out of business or having your dream killed can, and it usually happens, and this is, a way to look at it that not a lot of people do, is most dreams die before they ever get off the ground. Most dreams never see daylight. They get killed way before any effort or time or energy gets put into them. And I think you've probably heard the expression that the most talented place in the world is a graveyard, and it's because people take their gifts and their talents and things that they were born to do. They don't pursue those things. They don't pursue those dreams, and they don't take care of those gifts, or chase these things that they're talented at, and they end up taking those things to the grave with them. So that's why they say that the most talented place in the world is a graveyard, because people, for whatever reason, their dreams get killed along the way, or for me, get put out of business, whatever term you want to use. But a lot of that happens sort of, as an individual, you have to take responsibility for it. So everybody that's in the graveyard that took their skills and their dreams with them, it's ultimately their responsibility. It's ultimately their fault. But there's plenty of blame to go around. And even if some of that blame goes to people with good intentions, or they're looking out for you, I've had lots of people tell me, or trying to look out for me, tell me not to do something, or I shouldn't do something, or I was crazy, or you're gonna fail, you're gonna fall on your face, or you're gonna be back in 6 months, or you're gonna be out of business, or if you do that, you're gonna go out of business. I cannot tell you how many times that's probably the number one thing that I've heard. If you do X, you're going to go out of business. If you do X, you're going to be closed. And every single time I've done X, not only has my business gotten better, but it's grown. So people usually have good intentions when they're telling you that. They're trying to protect you. They're trying to help you. They're trying to give you feedback, and they're trying to, like I said, help you and protect you. But that just because they're trying to be helpful, and just because they have good intentions, and their heart is coming from a good place, and their words are coming from a good place, doesn't make them right. And that's a hard thing to do. Like, you have to overcome all the people that are helpful, that are trying to help you not hurt yourself or not overextend yourself. But a lot of times they're preventing you from chasing your dreams or pursuing something that's meaningful to you. You're an individual. I'm an individual. What doesn't work for somebody may work for me. Just because it didn't work for them. And a lot of times people that are giving me this advice either have no experience in what I'm trying to do, or have some experience in what I'm doing, but they never made it to where I'm trying to go. So they may be experienced in this field, and they may have some knowledge of what's going on in this industry, but they've never been where I'm going. So the advice that they're giving me isn't really relevant to the journey that I'm on. Like, I'm going to a different location than where this person is. So their advice is probably not relevant on my path. So they may have good intentions. They may be trying to tell me, um, to the best of their knowledge. So like I said, their heart might be in the right place, but they're not trying to, they don't understand where I'm trying to go because they've never been there. They can't help me. It's like somebody trying to, that's never climbed Mount Everest trying to tell you you can't do it. Or somebody that's never done it try to tell you how to do it. Both of those things are equally dangerous. So if someone tells you that's never been to the top of Mount Everest, tells you not to go, it's scary, it's dangerous, then you're never going to try. You're never going to climb. You're never going to go. So lots of dreams die that way. And it's usually, people that care about you. It's family, it's friends, it's coworkers, it's, people in your universe that are looking out for you. But again, like I said, they're killing your dream by not letting you climb Mount Everest, or not letting you start a business, or not letting you start, a YouTube channel, or anything that you've got set in your mind that you want to do. People are trying to protect you from failing. But the reality is that there's only one way to know. And your gifts are different than somebody else's gifts. And somebody that doesn't have your gifts is not going to understand. They're not going to get it. They're not going to be able to understand where you're coming from. They can't put themselves in your shoes because they don't have what you have. And there's tons of people that, I admire what they're doing and I see where they are in the journey. And I used to be somebody that would basically shit talk somebody if I thought what they were doing was stupid. Whether it was too hard, or it was dumb, or I thought it was dumb, or I thought it was ignorant, or I thought they were wasting their time, until I finally realized that that's just where that person is on their particular journey. And this is their learning process. And this is just the way they're doing it for now. And I don't even entirely understand all of their circumstances. Like, I'm just making a surface level judgment on this person, just talking trash because it's easy to talk trash, And I'll give you an example. Like, one example is like mobile mechanics. Like, I used to talk serious trash. I don't mean like go around talking trash, but like in my mind, I would see it and I would be like, that's just ridiculous. That's stupid. There's no way, why would you ever want to do that? And there's two things like simultaneously happen. One, I think I'm a super smart person to myself. I think I'm just brilliant. So I'm trying to predict the curve of the market, which almost nobody can do anyway. But I don't see mobile automotive repair as the future. A lot of people do. A lot of people say mobile automotive repair is the future. That's where it's going. You're seeing these mobile automotive repair companies popping up all over the place. I think it's going to be very short-lived. It's not going to get as big in the industry as people claim, and I have reasons for why I think that. Sorry, I'm knocking this mic around. You probably can't even hear me. But I have reasons why I feel like mobile automotive repair is not going to last, or it's not going to take over the market like people seem to think that it is, for a couple of reasons. One, finding technicians is a difficult thing. Okay, that's a difficult. Finding skilled labor is hard. Okay, so finding these people to do this is difficult. The other side of it is that automotive repair is typically a dirty industry. Okay, it's just a filthy job. There's lots of grease and gas and oil, and it's just messy. So I don't see in the future, in the long run, mobile automotive repair being a thing, because I just feel like at some point HOAs are not going to let people have companies come into an HOA development and start tearing apart your car in the street, or tearing apart your car in your driveway. Even if it's just something simple like brakes, they still got to take a bunch of stuff apart just to do brakes. Okay, so I don't see HOAs letting that happen for very long. Like, I don't think your boss wants a company to pull up and work on your car in the company parking lot. I don't think apartment complexes are going to let mobile mechanics come work on your car. I just don't think on a large scale that working on cars out in public parking lots, or private parking lots, or private driveways, or private streets, I just don't think that's the answer to what a lot of people seem to think is a time restraint on automotive repair. A lot of people don't have time to take their car to the shop, so it's easier to go to the customer. So that's just my feeling. That's just, again, I feel like I'm smart, so I'm trying to predict the future. Again, I'm probably wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. So if mobile automotive repair takes over the industry by storm, I will be surprised, because I just don't see it. But when I say that, I know a lot of people that are in mobile mechanic work. That's what they do for a living. And I used to, again, think this is ridiculous on an individual level, because a lot of guys that do this used to work in a shop, said, I'm not going to work in a shop. And they go out and they work on cars in people's driveways, in people's houses, whatever the case is, okay? And I used to, like I said, talk trash about it. Again, not just like go around running my mouth talking about people, but in my head, it was like a ridiculous thing. So now I I almost had the opposite feeling about it. I almost admire it because now I understand how hard it is. I used to look at it like it was a joke. Now I understand how difficult it is, because a lot of these guys, again, especially if they're using it as a stepping stone more than a career move, like a lot of guys leave a shop trying to go out on their own. And that I have a lot of respect for. That I admire a lot. I understand the challenges that come along with that, because it's a path that I've been down. I've left, I've left the ship and tried to go out on my own. I know what that's like. So I admire these guys that go out and do this and try to start their own business, because that's essentially what they're trying to do. They want to try to go work for themselves. I can at least, since I've been where they've been, I can at least understand, and I can relate enough to where I respect how difficult the journey is. Whether or not they realize how hard it's going to be, I don't know. They're soon to find out. Like, I get that. That's like I said, I was using the Mount Everest example earlier. Like, as far as automotive repair, like, I've been to the top of the mountain, so I can at least tell other people that are going, like, what to expect. Like, I know what they're about to go through. So if you've climbed Mount Everest and after you've done it, you meet somebody that says, "Hey, I'm about to go climb Mount Everest," you're like, you kind of give them, you just give them a little hat tip and let them do their thing. You give them whatever advice you can, and that's it. Because again, I used to look down at these guys like they're mobile mechanics. Like, oh, geez, these guys, they don't know what they're doing. They can't hold a job. They don't know what it's like to work in a real shop. They don't have the skills to stick at one location. They can't come to work on time. I used to have all the excuses in the world as to why these people are mobile mechanics. And again, I don't know their story. I'm just passing judgment on them. So now I step back and I look, and I try to appreciate the challenges that they face. And I understand, like, I see it all the time online. People are always asking, I'm looking for a mobile mechanic. I'm looking for a mobile mechanic. And I don't even get involved. I used to, try to get that customer to come to us. Now I just let them go, because that's obviously not our customer. I'm trying to spend time and energy and effort trying to drag a customer into my shop that doesn't want to come to my shop. So I'm trying to force somebody that doesn't want my service. You're trying to force my service on somebody that doesn't want me. It's a waste of time and energy. And it's a learning process for both people. The people that are asking for mobile mechanics have something to learn in this process, and the mobile mechanics have something to learn in this process. And it's a stepping stone for everybody. Sometimes it's about finances. Sometimes it's about time. There's all sorts of reasons why somebody needs a mobile mechanic. And the same thing why somebody's working as a mobile mechanic, all sorts of reasons. And I hope that this person as a mobile technician is using this as a stepping stone, because I see and understand how difficult of a journey that really is, how hard it is to answer every phone call, answer every text, pick up every single part, fix every single car, work out in the conditions, hot, cold, wet, on the ground. Like, I see the challenges that they go through and what they have to deal with, and I want to help them up. I want to pick them up. Like, hey, yeah, that's okay, that's cool for a while, but trying to make a career out of that's really hard. You're really doing it the hardest possible way. We want to pick you up. Like, there's to use another example, there's a lady down the street from here that's just recently opened a hair salon, and I don't know if it's her salon or if the girl that just works there, but there's times where I'm outside at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and this girl's over at the salon doing hair 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And like I said, I used to be the kind of person that would, like, make fun of that. Like, now I admire it. Like, now I appreciate the hard work that she's putting into this. Why is she doing it? I don't know. She could be terrible at her job. She could sleep till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the only time she's awake. There's all sort of negative reasons why she could be doing hair at 10 o'clock at night. But there's also 10,000 other reasons why, this might be her third job. She might go to school during the day. She might have kids, and this is the only time she's got a sitter. Her husband might work days, and she has to do hair at night. There's a million other reasons why. So I sort of got off the gas when it came to giving people a hard time for whatever it is they're trying to do, whether they're trying to do hair, whether they're trying to be a mobile mechanic, or whatever the case is. Like, they're trying to get something done, and who am I to get in their way? Who am I to say they're doing it wrong? Because again, this might be a lifestyle choice, this might be a career choice, At the same time, it might be a stepping stone, because there's plenty of times, and even now, people looking outside at me and where I am, like they're probably making fun of me, because they're like, hey, he's doing this the hardest possible way. Does he not know that there's a better way? Does he not know there's an easier way? Because this is just where I am right now. This is just, I started at one point and I've slowly started working forward and progressing and learning and doing more. So I look backward and be like, hey, I've come a long way. And there's other people way ahead of me that are looking at me like, dude, is this guy ever going to figure it out? So I try not to look down at people and say, hey, you know what? They don't have it figured out yet. Like, that's just where they are in the process. And they're trying to make something happen. And I give them the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes, whether it's a mobile mechanic or the girl working at the hair salon, I give them the benefit of the doubt. That's just where they are right now. They're doing absolutely the best that they possibly can. And I hope that they're at least approaching their work with a learning mindset, and that they're trying to grow and do it better and do more. Because doing it the hardest possible way, or doing it at late at night, is obviously not ideal for anybody. So you hope that they don't give up. You hope that they don't quit. You hope that the hard times and the 10 o'clock hair appointments and the 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls to come fix my car, like, you hope they survive all that, because that's the hardest possible way to do it. So you hope that they get to the next level, or get past whatever circumstances that are making them do that. And I didn't used to always, like I said, I didn't used to always look at it that way. I used to look at it where it was like, what is this goofball chick doing hair at 10 o'clock at night? Like, who does hair at 10 o'clock? You know what I mean? I used to be that person. So, what else do I got? So back to this. Man, I can get sidetracked so quickly. The mouth of the South. I'm telling you, I can talk forever. But these people are trying to live their dreams. And if I would be a dream killer by going around talking trash about these people trying to do hair at 10 o'clock at night, or trying to be a mobile mechanic. Like, I would be killing their dreams and forcing them to giving up on something that means a lot to them, or a way for them to pay their bills, or a way for them to put themselves through school, or a way to put food on the table for their kids, or pay their rent, or whatever. Like, I'd be killing their dream by having any sort of negative input on what they're doing, or how they're doing it, or when they're doing it, or whatever the case is. So a lot of times when people's dreams get killed, it's because they never even see the light of day, because friends and family are trying to tell them from their vantage point. Again, people that have never been where they're trying to go, trying to give them advice and trying to give them, protect them from getting hurt, or from failing. And a lot of times it's not necessarily like overt and obvious. Like, it's not a lot of times like where you go ask your uncle, like, hey, I'm thinking about starting this business. What do you think? Sometimes it's not that obvious. Sometimes it's just like, for instance, your friend group. Like, if you, like my friends for years and years, we just like to party, motorcycles, drinks, drugs, girls, whatever. Like, that was just what we did all the time. If you have a dream in your head and in your mind, and every night, instead of pursuing this dream, you go hang out with your friends, partying, drinking, chasing girls, doing drugs, whatever the case is, whatever that thing is, those things are, they may not be saying anything. They may not be telling you, hey, don't go do this. Hey, your dreams are stupid. You guys may never even talk about it. But those friends that you're hanging out with and those behaviors, those are killing your dreams just the same, because you're not spending any time pursuing what you're good at. You're not spending any time using your gifts for anything useful. Like going out, partying, drinking, drugging, whatever, like that's not a gift. That's not a skill. Like, you weren't put here on earth to do that. So your friends may not be they may not be physically dragging you out to the bar. They may not be physically dragging you, away from your dreams. But if you don't have the discipline to not spend time around the people that aren't helping you get closer to your dreams, then your friends are, in a sense, killing your dreams. It's 100% your fault. It's 100% your responsibility. But your inability to be disciplined enough to not spend that much time around them is just a sample of what I mean by your friends and family can kill your dreams. Your family is a little bit closer to you, a little different scenario. Like I said, you might go ask your uncle or your cousin or whatever, like, hey, what do you think about this? And they're going to tell you, oh, no, that, I tried that once back in the 80s and it never worked. Or, oh, yeah, no, I saw something similar on Shark Tank. You shouldn't do that. Like, they'll come up with a million reasons why you shouldn't do it. Again, they may have good intentions. They'll come up with a million reasons why you shouldn't do it. Where your friends you guys may never even have the conversation, But you're spending all your time with a group of people that don't have the ability to go where you want to go. They don't have the gifts that you have. Again, they probably have other gifts that they're wasting also, but you're going to have a hard enough time having enough discipline to get yourself motivated and on the right path. You've got no shot at trying to convince them. The best you can hope for is to lead by example, and maybe they'll follow their dreams too. And it may be in a completely different direction than you, because chances are your gifts and talents are probably not even related to each other at all. But hopefully you spending more time being disciplined, chasing your dreams, or starting a business, or playing an instrument, or learning a language, or starting a family, or whatever it is that's you're put here to do. They see value in your exit from the friend group, and they start to do the same. So hopefully at least you can inspire somebody to do it, even if you don't have the same skills. So just because somebody's with it, these people being your friend, like I said, they're not going to openly discourage you from chasing your dreams. But if you keep showing up, if you keep going to the bar, if you keep doing these things, you're going to stop yourself. And it's not their fault, but that's how friends can stop a dream from ever seeing the light of day. You just go through your life hanging out with your friends, spending time with your friends, doing all this stuff that you're used to doing because it's fun, it's a good time, and it's a party and it's cool. After a while, you're going to wake up one day and it's going to be too late to chase that dream, because life's going to take over. You're going to have other responsibilities. You're going to be too old. You're going to be too slow. You're going to be broke. You're going to be who knows what. So it doesn't have to be openly discussed for your dreams to die in a friend group. What else do I got? Oh, another thing that can kill a business or put you out of business is yourself. This is something that I deal with all the time. There's so many ways. Like I said, family can kill your business, kill your dreams. Friends can kill your business, kill your dreams. But self, that's probably the one that's been the most difficult for me, is overcoming self, overcoming the things that I deal with, overcoming the things that happen in my head, everything from, I've been self-employed since 2011. So you're talking about 13, going on 14 years. Do you have any idea how many times I wanted to give up? Just outright just stop. 6 and 7 days a week, morning, noon, and night, 24 hours a day, missing birthdays, funerals, graduations, holidays, weekends, vacations. Did I say graduations? Just missing everything, like having no life whatsoever other than this thing. Like in pursuit of this dream and solely focused on this one thing has cost me so much. And do you not think, I can't even tell you how many times I wanted to just quit and just stop. And I even ask myself, and I can't tell you how many times in the past few years or all these years I've asked myself, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? Why am I missing out on so much life? Why am I missing out on all these opportunities? And then I get back and I get focused, and I sometimes I have to write the reasons down. Why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? What matters to me? Why is this so important? Why am I missing out on all these things that are so important to everybody else? The only way, and I don't even know really how to say this, but and actually maybe I don't even know to this day how I have overcome self to this point for this period of time. I honestly don't know how I've overcome myself, because like I said, it's, not to mention just the thoughts of giving up, are constant for years, but making mistakes, I can't count how many mistakes I've made along the way. How many times I've messed something up, how many times I've hurt somebody's feelings, how many times I've made a financial mistake, how many times the list goes on and on and on. Made strategy errors, made business mistakes, I can't even count. Hundreds, thousands. There's just no real reason why I should have made it this far other than persistence. I just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. No matter how bad it was or how bad it looked, I just kept going and going and going. So there's really not a good reason for it other than that. Like, it's not I'm particularly smart or talented or gifted. It's just, or maybe I just got lucky. I don't know, but I just kept going and I kept moving forward. So using self as an example, like, there's a million reasons why you'll get in your own way. You'll convince yourself. I mean, even before I was self-employed, I thought about it for years before I finally did it. Years before I finally, it just finally took the thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways that you will convince yourself to not do it. Again, when it doesn't matter what it is, start a family, play an instrument, learn a language, climb Mount Everest, move out of the country, whatever your thing is, like, you got to stop talking yourself out of it. You just have to stop talking yourself out of it, because you'll kill your dream. You're going to wake up one day and it's going to be over with. It's going to be gone. You're going to, I think, there's probably a ton of these videos out there, but if you go anywhere online and look up, videos of people living in retirement homes and things like that, and they'll just stick a microphone in their face and be like, hey, what's your biggest regret? What's your biggest regret? What's your biggest regret? Just go watch those videos. And before you get to those videos, just realize, like, however old you are now, you're not that far from being in that retirement home. You're not near as far as you think you are from being in that retirement home. And that's if you're lucky enough to get there. Because guess who they're not interviewing in a retirement home? They're not interviewing people that didn't live that long. Okay, so don't forget those people exist too. You don't know when your time is up. You don't know when your time is coming. So go watch some of those videos of people in retirement homes and people getting asked, what's your biggest regret? Go watch it. It'll change your perspective. What else? Oh yeah, running out of time. God, I talk too much. But as far as like self preventing you from living your dreams, part of that is learning what not to do, especially when it comes to, me, myself, or any of these other examples I'll use, the lady at the hair salon or the mobile mechanic or me. Learning what not to do is 10 times more valuable than learning what to do, because it's easy. It's really easy. Here's an example. There are millions of get-rich-quick schemes on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, and it's a cesspool of, hey, let me show you how to make $10,000 a month. Hey, let me show you how to make $1,000 a week, only 3 minutes a day. Like, it's so crazy. It's so crazy how many get-rich-quick schemes there are out there. And again, if they worked, everybody would be doing it. So think of it that way. If they worked, everybody would be doing it. So part of the process of your gift or your dream is learning what not to do. Like, you can't get good at anything until you learn what not to do. And nobody can tell you that. Even people that have been there can give you a vague, and I mean a very vague idea of what not to do. Because in life, especially, well, particularly for me, I don't know how many people when I was younger pulled me aside and said, hey, you're smarter than that. You're better than that. Don't do that. This is a bad idea. This is stupid. Don't do this. I can't tell you how many people pulled me aside and tried to get in my way of doing something completely ignorant or completely stupid, okay? And I didn't listen. I didn't want to listen. Like, I had to learn for myself. I had to figure it out on my own. So even when you tell people the correct information, the right information that will help them, chances are they're not going to heed the advice until they experience it for themselves. So even when you go out of your way to stop somebody and say, hey, yeah, it's a bad idea, I wouldn't do that, chances are they're going to try it anyway. They're going to go for it, okay? And that's part of it. They have to learn what not to do. And I was one of those people that I had to learn what not to do. And it's a lot. There's a lot out there of what not to do, because I'm pretty sure I hit every branch on the way down. When I went to that school, like, I'm pretty sure I took every class of what not to do. And I'm still learning what not to do, because I still make mistakes all the time. The mistakes are fewer. The mistakes are further between, but sometimes they're bigger than the mistakes I used to make. I used to make 1,000 mistakes a day. Now I make 100 mistakes a day. But sometimes out of those 100, they're bigger mistakes, because I'm taking bigger steps and doing different things, so the mistakes are bigger. But learning what not to do is part of the process. And you can't You can't stop somebody from going through the process, and they have to go through it to learn what not to do. Even if you could write down a list of all the things not to do in your business, in your industry, learning how to play guitar, learning a new language, starting a family, you're just going to have to learn. You just have to go through it. You have to experience it, and that's just part of it. So don't be shy. I got to get out of here. Don't be shy. There's dream killers everywhere. I know your family loves you, but they're not going where you're going. Your friends are just going to be your friends, and if you keep going where they're going, you're never going to get where you're supposed to be. So chase your dream, go do that thing, and don't let self get in the way. That's the one that's probably got me the most, is letting myself get in the way, talking myself out of it. At some point, I had to stop talking myself out of it and trying to tell myself 10,000 reasons why it won't work. I just had to find one reason why it would work. And that's all I needed, was just stick to that one reason. Because if I sit around and thought about all the reasons why it wouldn't work, man, that list could go on and on and on and on. And then I just had to find one reason why I was going to make this work. How am I going to make this work? Why? What's the purpose of this? And that's what's kept me going to this point. So find your why that's more important than all the 10,000 reasons why you think it won't work, or 10,000 excuses why your family doesn't think it's going to work, or 10,000 nights you could be hanging out with your friends doing a whole lot of nothing, going nowhere. Find a why that's bigger than that. Find a why that's more important than that. All right. I appreciate y'all for listening and watching. You guys are super awesome. Thanks for the feedback, and we will talk to y'all later. Take care of each other. I love you. Bye.